group is Tian Yihou, Nathan Hughes, and Zhu Pengchen. And the book that we are going to talk about is The End of Competitive Advantage. First, we are going to talk about the citation of this book. The book was written by Rita Gonder-Migras, and it was published June 4th, 2013. Next, we move to the content. This book explains the diminishing importance of competitive advantage, which is a cornerstone of all strategic frameworks and tools in the past. The author teaches readers and firms how to thrive in a transient advantage economy nowadays without building sustainable competitive advantage.
I'm Zhu Pengchen, and I'm going to talk about the communication and the context of this book. Rita Gonder-Migras is a professor at Columbia Business School, and she is an expert on strategy in a highly volatile environment. She also devotes herself into development of discovery-driven planning. She is also a founder of the Valets. The Valets is an innovation platform that helps organizations to build lasting transformation capability as the basis for long-term shared prosperity. And the tone for this book would be very formal and informative for the audience, since the author trying to educate the audience a new way of thinking about transient advantage. And the audience for this book would be the boards, managers, strategy consultants, and any people in the competitive market who want to be successful in the future. And the bias for this book is that transient advantage is a process to help companies to build sustainable advantage compared to other competitors ultimately. So for the context, the book was written under the globalization and the digital revolution, which making the boundary of the industry become very vague. So the competitors are not only from the industry but also from outside of industry. So getting control of the resource allocation process is absolute key to creating the deaf organizations. So it is important for the company to redevelop their strategy during the time.
Hi, I'm Nathan Hughes, and I'm going to talk about the connections that the book, The End of Competitive Advantage, had towards the CAPSIM simulation that we completed this semester. So the first challenge was to find a balance between stability and agility in the CAPSIM simulation through all 8 rounds. In the beginning, we were forced to map out our plans for developing new sensors and bringing them to the market for each of the 8 rounds. And as we were doing that, we were doing it without understanding what was going to happen each round. So being able to be agile and go switch on the fly compared to what competitors are doing or the industry demand was a challenge, and it allowed us to understand that you can't just make a plan and you have to be able to change on the fly. And being focused and aware of the trends that are happening in the industry, whether more sensors in the high tech were needing to be produced or more sensors in the low tech, to figure out kind of which realm to produce in to be most profitable. And then the last thing was understanding and utilizing talented assets and how important that was to use all of the group's knowledge and execute the knowledge between the research and development, marketing, production, and finance. In conclusion, firms need to create transient competitive advantages by reconfiguration, disengagement, resource allocation, and innovation. And this will allow them to be able to think on the fly and put themselves in the best position for the industry that they're in to compete with their competitors, and to never be satisfied with the current situation organizationally or personally, as things can change, like we've seen from the coronavirus, how the entire world kind of shut down for about a year, and companies were forced to change the way that they do business to fit the needs of the consumers, and competing in an arena instead of an industry to allow companies to be more competitive and not have to battle it out with an entire industry, and rather just a smaller sector. Thank you for watching our video.